Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, then you are tuned in for another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends. I am your host with the most, Jay Riddy. And in the building, I also have the lovely Lady Great One. Say hello to the people.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? We're going to have a great show, so stick around because swerves and curves are coming at you.
Damn right. And we have a few topics for y'all tonight for everybody who's going to be listening. Of course, this is the go home episode for pay per view weekend. If you're listening, Money in the Bank this Sunday. A lot of matches on the card. Of course, NXT Takeover, the of the two, which is always the better every time Takeover comes up. We're going to go over that card as well. We're going to give you guys a lot of predictions. Also on the show tonight, we got some topics about CM Punk in his last 2 weeks. And we'll also talk about the upcoming WWE UK tournament. Number two, the second annual tournament, a little bit of changes that are going to be made. But first, let's talk about one of my favorite non-WWE wrestlers out there, Kenny Omega. Now, I'm not going to talk about Kenny Omega for too long, just because I don't know if a lot of you guys who are listening are familiar with New Japan. Everybody doesn't always keep up. But major accomplishment this past weekend, Kenny Omega actually won the New Japan Heavyweight Championship from Okada, who actually held the title for 2 years. So to have one of the longest runs in New Japan, as a superstar, and to give up the title not only just to Kenny Omega but to give it up to a geisha, so to speak, is definitely very, very huge. Toya, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's actually quite groundbreaking, quite historic. I'm not sure really what you want to call it, but let's just call it great. Um, Kenny Omega has been the unofficial leader of the Bullet Club ever since Cody and him have been kind of like back and forth over it. But since AJ Styles as well as Finn Balor left the WWE. So the cleaner, Kenny Omega, congratulations. That's the most I can say. I don't know much about Okada. I just know that he's only defended his title 13 times, I believe it is, in the last 2 years. So for him to be the one to take the strap, hats off to you, Omega.
It sounds like you're saying Okada is a little Brock Lesnar-ish, if you will. That's what I took it as. I don't know if anybody else is, whoever else is listening, if they took it the same way. That's just me personally. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or anything.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to put out there. Kenny Omega just took what Seth Rollins is going to do to Brock Lesnar eventually. I'm going to go ahead and say that right there. That's my prediction. At some point in time, Seth Rollins will take that strap off of Brock Lesnar just like Omega did off of Okada.
Woo, these shots fired are, you're gonna get us off the air. The IWC is not gonna be playing any games with us. They don't appreciate the slander of New Japan. Speaking
How
of
was that
Kenny,
slander? How did I slander? I said that Omega took the strap just like I felt that Seth was going to take the strap from Brock.
but agreeing to the comparison of Okada and the laziness of Brock Lesnar, that's what's gonna piss a couple of people off. But hey, we're not here to make friends. We're here to tell you what our opinions are and for you to listen. Um, so
Swerve
while
and
we're on,
Curve, check him out.
while we're on Kenny Omega right now, another interesting fact, I just wanted to throw it out there if anybody didn't know. E3 was last week. If you don't know what E3 is, E3 is the huge premiere of it's pretty much the biggest event in video games every year. You get to see a lot of showcases from PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo about a lot of the new products that are coming out, a lot of the new games, a lot of exclusives. But one of the things that is exciting is that you get a lot of open tournaments, open invitationals. So Kenny Omega, and I would say his Bullet Club brethren, but the Elite brethren would be more correct, with the Young Bucks, took on the New Day. So we have the Elite versus WWE in a Street Fighter tournament. So I don't know if anybody has gotten a chance to watch that. If you haven't watched it, I'll repost the video in the Marking Out Amongst Friends group as well as the Game Runners group. But it was a epic battle. If everybody knows, Xavier Woods has this show, the Up Up Down Down, where he showcases a lot of people playing different games, fighting games, Madden, things of the third, this, that, and the third. I really was riding on the New Day hard in this whole thing, and without giving too much away, I'll just say the New Day, specifically Xavier Woods, is not that much better than everybody else, as you would think. And I'm going to leave that one at that. So, Lady Great One, let's go ahead and take it into Money in the Bank. So we're in the Go Home episode. Both weekly shows have ended. We have our official card for Money in the Bank. One thing that's still standing up in the air, though, is who is New Day going to put in the Money in the Bank match? And I think that both you and I have changed our answers for this. Just for shits and giggles, I really want to see where everybody is now. Who do you think that the New Day is going to plug into this match?
Looking at the rest of the field, I got to take that in consideration first. We have Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. But I've got some interference going on right now. So I am a mom. So I am trying to like run interference here. Okay, excuse me. But hold that thought. I will get right back to you with my predictions. Go ahead.
No problem, no problem. All right, so Money in the Bank this weekend, you guys. We got right now 10 matches on the card. It's going to be a very long event. More than likely, this is going to probably start around 6 or 7. As we were bringing up, the first, I'll go ahead and put the big main event match out there right now. The men's Money in the Bank match will feature Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev Day, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and to be announced, one of the members of the New Day. So me personally, I was going to let Lady Great One go at it and tell everybody who she thinks is going to go in it. But right now, my prediction has been and is still going to be Kofi Kingston. Why do I say Kofi Kingston? Kofi Kingston is going to be there for a major spot. So you think about guys in the past, your John Morrisons, your Shelton Benjamins. Kofi Kingston is in that class of guys who are always good for, you know, 1 or 2 major spots in any type of major ladder match. And I think that the pattern is not going to change now. If you ask me who I would like to go in there, of course I want Big E. I think there's a lot of us who want Big E to be in there just because he deserves the singles push. But I think that right now, I think that to go with history, Kofi Kingston's probably going to be the one who's going to go in there. Now, Lady Great One, do you agree or do you not agree?
So, with you saying Kofi is probably going to be a veteran, the 6-time Money in the Bank veteran, must I add to that. But my prediction shall be Big E. Mainly because you look at the caliber of men that's in this match. 4 names. Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and Rusev. With those 4 big power guys, you gotta put in Big E. You gotta go for the power game. You gotta play it smart, and you gotta let Big E take this strap. So I think that Big E is gonna be the one. And my prediction of who I would actually like is not gonna be Kofi. I'm gonna go with Xavier.
And you know what? I really like Xavier. I will definitely admit to anyone, and a lot of people that know me, that watch pay-per-views with me every month when we have our pay-per-view get-togethers, I've always been high on Xavier Woods. If I want to say who has the best overall talent in New Day right now, a lot of people would say Kofi. I'm definitely going to end up saying that Xavier Woods is the best all-around talent in the New Day. When you consider someone who can wrestle, and then you throw in his mic work, and you throw in the spots that he's able to do on top of just the regular technical chain wrestling, I think that Xavier Woods is definitely the best overall talent. Plus, he seems to be the most cultured out of everybody. He seems to have the most wrestling knowledge out of everybody as well. So I'm always going to be a big fan of Xavier Woods. But I just feel like Vince is always going to go to Old Faithful in these type of matches, and we're going to end up seeing Kofi Kingston in this match.
But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you there because you're talking about Old Faithful. Old Faithful for Vince is not Kofi. Old Faithful would be the big man. Vince is high on big guys, so Big E will be Old Faithful.
I mean, if we're going for, a singles push for the world title, yeah, I'm going to say Big E would be the guy that he would go to. But, when you have these matches, these big time matches, anytime we have a Money in the Bank ladder match or, a Royal Rumble, the highlights or the hot spots are always going to go to the little guys, so to speak. And, Kofi has got the history. I mean, I can't knock it. I mean, he's been in those matches, but he's also shown off in those type of matches too.
I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm just saying that, like, Vince's Old Faithful is the big man.
So you're saying that Vince likes big men?
Big, oily, sweaty men, yes. Aha.
Aha. So, while we're on this matchup, I'm going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and throw our prediction out for this one. I'll let you go ahead and start this one. Who do you think is going to walk home with the Money in the Bank contract and have a guaranteed shot and pretty much a high percentage of winning the WWE or WWE Universal title?
Okay. See, here's my problem. I have three things that are all going against each other. My gut. I'm going to go with my gut first. My gut is telling me Braun Strowman. However, my gut and my heart and my head are disagreeing. My head is telling me The Miz. Mainly because he is The Miz and he is awesome. Oh, yeah, I just did that. He is awesome, actually. So, and then my heart. My heart actually is Bobby Roode. Wow. So I have a big debate there. So I'm actually follow my heart. And I'm thinking Bobby Roode, the glorious one, is going to turn heel, take that title, and he's going to just run amok all throughout. Even though, honorable mention, Samoa Joe.
Okay. I can agree with some of that. I feel myself in the same predicament, so to speak. I have a few different people that I feel will win, and for different reasons. Like you said, just my gut feeling off the bat is going to be the exact same thing you said. It's Braun Strowman. It's the same thing I said when the Greatest Royal Rumble event happened. Anytime Braun Strowman is there, I don't care who else is in there, Braun is always going to be the odds-on favorite. It's just, I mean, you can't teach that size. Shout out to Enzo Amore, R.I.P. to his rap career. But outside of Braun Strowman, if I was going to go who I would think is going to win, if I'm going to go with my head in this situation, I'm going to give you a little swerve. No curve, but a little swerve. I pick this guy every time he's in a match that's for a heavyweight title. Every pay-per-view he's in. And I think that one of these pay-per-views I'm going to be right about this guy. And in my mind, I'm thinking that they're going to end up going with Finn Balor. Just because Finn Balor has been getting pushed without getting pushed in the last couple of months. He wrestles to lose a lot of matches, but these are a lot of high profile matches that he's been getting in the last couple of months. Plus, when you factor in that he's the first ever Universal Champion, I think that we're going to end up getting Finn uh, winning. I wouldn't be mad at Finn winning that. I could definitely see him winning that. If I'm going to go with my heart, which I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable with saying any grown man in my heart. But if I'm going to go with my heart, who I really am banking on winning, who I want to win this match, Samoa Joe all day. Samoa Joe has been underutilized on the main roster, and it's not really a huge fault of the WWE at this time, just because I know it's always easy to blame the WWE. I mean, Samoa Joe has been legitimately hurt. And the times that he's come back have been times where there's been major stories going on, so they couldn't just plug him back. I think that putting him over on SmackDown Live, having him on the show with your Daniel Bryans, with your Big Casses, with your AJ Styles, with your Rusevs, I think that he's going to end up flourishing in the land of opportunity. And I am definitely envisioning him coming away with that Money in the Bank and starting a feud with AJ Styles, possibly playing a couple of mind games with him, letting him know that he could cash in anytime on him. Probably give you a couple of more quotes out of the Book of Joe, so to speak, with those preacher-esque promos that he's been cutting. So I'm going to go with Samoa Joe in this one. Okay. While we're on the topic of the marquee matchups of this pay-per-view, let's move on to the women's Money in the Bank contract. So, in the women's Money in the Bank match, we got newcomer to the main roster, Ember Moon. We got Charlotte Flair. We got Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. Now, on the contrary, and we've talked about this before, on the contrary of the men's Money in the Bank match that features the majority of guys who have not won a heavyweight title on the main roster, the women's match features the majority who have won women's titles on the main roster, with the exception of Lana and Ember Moon. So, in this one, for some reason, my heart, mind, and my gut are telling me that Ember Moon is going to walk away with the Money in the Bank. I don't have any specific reason. I just think that the WWE is really high on Ember Moon. She's gotten some marquee wins since coming to the main roster. They were big on her in NXT, and I feel like she's next up. Lady Great One, who you got winning the Money in the Bank for the women's title match?
Okay, for the women, it's actually a lot tougher than the men's. Oh, they're actually equally as tough. I take that back. I am really, really, really high on Naomi. I'm just going to put it out there. I am a huge fan of Naomi. She was the inaugural winner of the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which I think she truly deserves. She could do it all. Yes, she does make a couple of botches here and there. Not so many as she used to. But I think that Naomi is just that high caliber. However, that's not who I'm picking. Like I said, I'm swerves and curves all day. My pick for this is not Ember Moon. It's not Alexa Bliss. It's not the Queen. It is not Natty, the Queen of Hearts. It will not be Sasha Banks. But my pick for this one is actually going to be one Irish last kicker, and I'm going to have to go Becky Lynch. She has been the most underutilized, underappreciated, looked over talent on both rosters. So Becky has too much to fight for to keep her from, I don't know how to say it, being relevant. That's the best way I can say it. No offense, it's starting to get boring. A great heel turn would happen, and her to come out and stalk Asuka or stalk Carmella, whichever one of those two. We'll talk about that later. But I think that keep an eye on Becky Lynch because some straight fire is going to come at you.
You know, I would not be mad at Becky Lynch winning. And I'm not thinking that is... Becky can definitely be a dark horse. One thing that really shocked me recently, I can't remember if it was this week or last week on SmackDown Live, where Becky actually got a one-on-one victory over Charlotte. Which, you know, I don't want to set Charlotte as the standard, but in all actuality, Charlotte is the standard when it comes to women's wrestling, especially on SmackDown Live. And for her to have held the title as long as she had, and for Becky Lynch to beat her clean one-on-one, it really says a lot about the direction that they could be going in with her. So I actually like that pick a lot.
Well, I mean, the only other person I failed to mention on that was Lana. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Lana because Lana has truly, truly, truly improved in the ring. She's working with her husband, Rusev. She's getting a lot better. Her timing is a lot better. She's running off the ropes better. She's not looking like Kelly out there. Yeah, I went there. But Lana is getting a lot better. So I give her so much more credit because the last couple matches that she was in, including this 10-woman tag match, her timing was great. Her spots were great. So she's been working hard to truly improve herself since those one-on-one matches she had against Naomi. But still, I've got to give the shout to Becky because Becky Lynch has been overlooked for way too long. On SmackDown, on Raw, it was always the overlooked member of the Four Horsewomen. So, I'm just saying, I just think that it's her moment.
I can definitely get with that. You said a lot of good stuff about Lana there. I don't know if I feel the same as far as, you know, what she's done in the ring. She's definitely not a dumpster fire in the ring, which I thought she would be. She's better than I give her credit for. But I think that this match is probably going to be a deciding factor in which direction they may go with her, so to speak. As far as, I don't expect her winning, like you said. But if we don't see Lana get a couple of good spots or get a chance to show off in this match, I don't think that we'll see a big push for her going forward either. And is it me, or do I have the feeling when I watch Lana wrestle that this isn't something that she necessarily wants. I think that she's doing it because Rusev is having such a massive following and having so much success. And I think that she's just trying her hand at it, but it doesn't look like she has the passion for it, so to speak. By all means, I'm not a scout, but you know, that's just how Riddy calls it, like he sees it.
And I'm going to have to disagree with you there, because Lana has always portrayed how much passion she has for this business. Lana, if you watch like Total Divas or whatever, if you actually look at her in the background, she's always had a passion. She's never wanted to be on the sidelines. She never just wanted to be a valet. She wanted to be a champion. So I think that she definitely has the drive. She has the determination. The skill set is not quite there yet. And I'm not saying that she's ever going to be champion. However, I am saying that she does have that passion for it. And she loves to be in front of the spotlight. So the best way to stay in the spotlight is to get better.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, first and foremost, I don't watch Total Divas. So that's all you there, buddy. I'll take your word for it. But with Lana, I don't know. Only time will tell with that. While we're on the topic of women's wrestling, I will go ahead and move on to both of the women's matches that we have on the roster for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Of course, first we'll go ahead and talk about the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match. One-on-one match with Carmella versus Asuka. Who you got?
Asuka's gonna kill you. Actually, as much as I think that Asuka should and will win this match, there's a certain element that Carmella has, and she is known for dirty tricks. So I'm thinking actually Carmella might take this with some assistance. Not because of the Iconics, not because of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, but I think one Mr. James Ellsworth might reappear out of nowhere to help her beat Asuka.
I did hear that James Ellsworth is reportedly re-signing with the WWE, and is supposed to be signed in time for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So I definitely see where you're going with that. And it would definitely add a little more extra history and depth to Carmella's run if he interfered and she won the title, or she retained the title. And I'm going to have to agree with you. I know we don't necessarily agree 100% of the time, but I just don't think that it's Asuka's time as women's champion on the main roster yet. I think that we're just getting to the point where we're trying to build a little more mortal, for lack of a better word, with Asuka. And we're in a time where we're trying to push Carmella as a dastardly heel. So with both of those factors, is much better of a wrestler, better of a character, better everything Asuka is. I just don't see Asuka winning this match. Shout out to Doctor Strange. In my mind, I've went through 14 million different scenarios, and I don't see how she's gonna win this one.
Well, for me, there's one more thing I wanted to point out when it comes to Asuka. I think that Asuka is incredibly talented, incredibly experienced, and she's it. She has it. She has charisma. She has everything. Asuka is the total package, even though sometimes you can't understand what she's saying. She's still charismatic when she's in there. Carmella, on the other hand, is that dastardly Miz type heel. She will do everything she can to get underneath your skin. She will cheat if she has to, which Miz has been known to do. And I will actually give her the props of saying that Carmella is the female version of Miz. And that's coming from a place of love, not a place of hate.
Yeah, I mean, I really am liking Carmella. I really want to get behind her in this run, and I want to say I am pretty much behind her on this run, just because I like to see somebody different outside of the Four Horsewomen. Asuka's not one of the Four Horsewomen, but I still put her in that category, and those are the people that we expect to be champion. I want to see people who we don't expect to be champion go out there and have meaningful runs. That's why I appreciated the Naomi run that she had, which I think that they never gave her a match that gave her any type of caliber of competition when she was champion. That's why I love the Alexa Bliss run when she was on SmackDown and when she went over to Raw and had the Raw Women's title. I'm all about seeing somebody different, and I'm definitely hoping that the run from Carmella will last a few months, maybe on into SummerSlam. A lot of people will disagree with me, but hey, everybody's got their opinion, and you can't please wrestling fans.
Amen to that. You cannot please a wrestling fan. You could be all over the hottest wrestlers' attention. I'm just going to say that instead of what I'm usually going to say. You can have the hottest wrestler's attention, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to agree with you. i.e. Roman Reigns. Well, we're not going to go down that road today. This isn't about Roman.
Not yet. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Moving right along to the next women's match we have on the roster. This is the match that everybody's been talking about. If you look at a lot of the Money in the Bank posters, this is the poster match because of the superstar, or well, not superstars, but the superstar that's in the match, who's not even the champion. Champion Nia Jax is having a singles one-on-one match with newcomer to WWE, Ronda Rousey, in Ronda's only second pay-per-view match, and her first singles pay-per-view match. Now, in my opinion, I like Nia Jax as a heel. I've asked for a heel Nia Jax run, and Nia Jax has quickly transitioned into a heel upon joining this feud against Ronda Rousey. With that being said, I don't think that the WWE planned on having a long run with Ronda. I mean, with Nia. I think that Ronda has been the person that they've wanted to put in that spot since before signing her. And for some reason, I just feel like WWE is going to pull the trigger early and put the title on Ronda. I don't want it to happen, but that's just my opinion. That's how I think that this is going to go. And it's not fair to Nia Jax. Nia Jax has wrestled on the main roster for quite some time behind the Four Horsewomen, jobbing out to much smaller, inferior women. And when she finally gets her shot, you bring in a UFC star to be the main women's wrestler on the roster. And it's really not fair. You know, I don't talk about fairness much in WWE, but in my opinion, this is one of those things that's not fair.
Now, really, as much as me and you agree, I'm going to have to disagree there. I think that Nia may have bit off a little bit more than she can chew when challenging Ronda Rousey. However, yes, Ronda is very green. Yes, there were other people who should have stepped up in that spot instead. Yes, Ronda can be beaten. Holly Holm did that. She proved that she was not quite the baddest woman on the planet. But also to the latter, yes, Ronda is going into the UFC Hall of Fame. However, I think that the Women's Money in the Bank winner is going to be more of a factor. Now, granted, let me take one of the four women from SmackDown out of the equation and go with the four women from Raw. The best person to stand a chance against Ronda Rousey is her own best friend, her own trainer, Natalya. Who wouldn't want to go ahead and see a Natalya Ronda Rousey match? She trained her. Why not? Why not let Natty be the one to steal Ronda's spotlight? Because she left SmackDown as a heel, she came to Raw as a face, and Natalya has been in that in-between role back and forth for quite some time. So I think that Natalya could win and then steal Ronda's championship to make for a great long-lasting feud. Sorry, Nia.
I can respect that. I disagree, like you said, but I can definitely respect that. But I don't feel like WWE is 100% behind Nia Jax, and I think that they're all in with Ronda, and that's the only reason why I'm thinking that Ronda's going to come away with this. And even with that whole thing with Natalya, who's to say after Ronda wins the title, they won't jump right into a feud with Natalya and Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship. So I definitely wouldn't be shocked. That's all I'm saying. So moving right along, now that we've discussed the women's matches on the roster, let's go to some of the singles matches on the roster. Snorefest first. We'll go ahead and talk about Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. If I had to give an opinion, I really don't give a shit who wins this match. But there's no reason.
I agree.
There's no reason for Sami Zayn to win this match. I don't even have an explanation. Bobby Lashley's going to win this match.
This has been the worst use of Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley, period. Get on with it. It's dumb. It's over. Sami Zayn as a heel is garbage. Bobby Lashley is garbage. Let's just go ahead and call him Botchy Lashley like he is. I have absolutely zero interest in this match, so I really don't give a damn who wins. But I'm going to give it to Bobby Lashley because of the fact that it's his return and his first singles match back on the main roster. So Bobby Lashley, boring, period, 2-minute match, done.
Yeah. And just like you said, man, Sami Zayn, and a lot of people who are huge indie fans, huge Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens fans are going to dislike what you said, but I 100% completely agree. Sami Zayn is too freaking happy to be a heel. He's a smart aleck heel, which I think is just part of his character. But Sami is such a better face, a much more interesting face than he is as a heel. Now, it's good to see that he knows that he can branch out and be a heel if ever needed be in the future, but to me, it's just never been believable. I haven't liked it from the start, and I'm ready for them to turn him back face. As a matter of fact, while they were on SmackDown...
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you off here. But it's not about Sami Zayn and his heel. It's more about them pushing Bobby Lashley as the face. I'm not saying that Sami Zayn is a bad heel. I'm just saying that this is a garbage feud. That's all I'm saying there. I think that Sami Zayn could pull off a better heel if he became more Miz type heel. And yes, I keep referring to the Miz when I talk about heels because why not? He is the best heel on the roster on both rosters, period.
Yeah, I would definitely say that it really doesn't make sense to me that Bobby Lashley's most recent run in Impact was a heel run, and Sami Zayn has always been widely renowned as a face. And they're playing the roles reversed, and it's like you said, it's just not believable, so to speak. Bobby Lashley is not going to get any support from me personally in WWE until he turns heel and until he develops a character.
I 100% agree there. I think if the roles were reversed, this feud might be more interesting. I think that Sami Zayn would be better as a face against a heel Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is better as a heel, but he's the dominator, and that right there in his name just screams heel. It does not scream face. He's not Braun Strowman by any means or stretch of the imagination. And I'm not saying that Braun Strowman is even a face, really. Braun Strowman is just not Roman Reigns. So everybody loves Braun Strowman, hates Roman Reigns, i.e. he's face by default. And if you're going to be face by default or heel by default, then you might as well go ahead and flip the script. Let Sami Zayn be the face in this match and let Bobby Lashley be the heel, because it's going to work out better in both favors, not this boring crap that they have right now. And I have no interest in this match whatsoever. I'm going to say it. It's a snore fest. This is going to be the old school Divas matches where you would just fast forward or take a bathroom break versus actually staying and watching it.
Yeah, it's definitely the piss break match of the night. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to spend much more time talking about that. We're going to move on to our other singles non-title match. One of our other singles non-title matches. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. They're continuing on with this feud. And quite the opposite of the previous match that we were talking to. I love this feud with Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Big Cass has surpassed what I thought of him as a heel. I love that he's brought back the big boot. and that he is totally hammering people with that every time that he hits it. I love the whole this is a big guy's world, and Daniel Bryan is just a little guy. He doesn't belong in it. I mean, it's playing to his strengths, and as if anybody needed a reason to hate Big Cass, you put him in the feud with the most beloved wrestler in the history of wrestling. Well, not the history, but the most beloved wrestler in wrestling right now. Right? Wow. Right? Big Cass is really showing off. But in this match, if I'm going to pick somebody to win this match, Big Cass is going to come away with the win. I think Daniel Bryan got the first win, so I don't think they're going to go back to the well twice in a row. I think the Cass is going to do something probably to cheat or something underhanded to win, but I'm calling Big Cass as the winner in this match. Okay. Lady Great One. Who do you think is going to come away as the victor in this match?
I'm saying that on this particular match, Cass is going to have a win. The feud is going to drag on, and it's a good one at that. It's not like Big Cass hasn't came from a legitimate great. He has a real beef. Just because of the simple fact that when Daniel Bryan was cleared to wrestle, Big Cass was cleared the same day. No news, no focus whatsoever. He's jealous of Daniel Bryan's spotlight. I would be too. I have been gone for months. And all of a sudden, on the same day that I get cleared, Daniel Bryan gets cleared. Yeah, I'm going to have a legitimate gripe against the man. And I'm going to do everything in my power to beat this man because of the fact that I'm getting overlooked. Daniel Bryan was out of action for 3 years. So, yes, I'm going to have to go Big Cass taking this one because we're going to have a definite finish, and it's going to come down at SummerSlam, not at Money in the Bank.
Facts. Big facts. Big facts. So, next match in the card. And we're rolling right along here. Got a lot of matches to go over tonight. The next singles match without a title. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Another feud that a lot of people have been rejecting. Personally, I like Jinder Mahal. If you know me, you know I'm a huge Jinder Mahal fan. I got the modern day Maharaja shirt in the closet. I'm definitely going to be wearing it when the pay-per-view comes around this weekend. But this one, honestly, if you look at it on paper, anybody would pick Roman to win this match. But Jinder Mahal has been one-upping Roman a lot. And I really think they want to get behind Jinder Mahal as a monster heel on the show. So, you're hearing it first here. I'm going to go, this is going to be my shocker of the night. I'm going with Jinder Mahal winning this match.
No, sir, this is not your shocker of the night. I'm actually going to go Jinder Mahal with you.
Wow.
Yes, I put it out there as huge of a Roman Reigns fan that I am. You all know this. Anybody who has ever listened to this show knows that I am a Romanite. However, legitimate, underhanded, sneaky heels like Jinder Mahal have been overlooked when it comes to big matches like this. I think that this is actually the feud that Roman needs, and I think he needs to lose the first encounter to be even remotely considered to be a face like, okay, we gotta get him to win. We gotta get this win. No, Jinder Mahal has to win this match. If you want to sell Roman Reigns as your top guy, he's have to lose. He's got to humble himself a little bit more. And Jinder Mahal is going to do everything in his power, including bringing back Samir Singh, because Sunil has been the one to taking all the jumps. I think that Samir Singh will be coming out here, and he's going to help because there's two of them, not just the one. There's two Singh brothers, not one, and they are going to help Jinder Mahal win this by force, whatsoever the cost may be. I'm putting my money on Jinder Mahal on this one. Sorry, Roman. I love you, but that's just the facts.
Absolutely, and you're definitely right. I mean, if WWE is going to have Roman Reigns be the guy, um, I think that, like you said, he has to take a couple of L's, and I don't think that this loss to Jinder Mahal is going to make or break Roman Reigns. It's not going to make or break him or his character. And honestly, if we're talking about who needs it more right now, somebody who's coming off of a WWE title run from SmackDown that they haven't really been doing much with, and having a very short, very sweet reign with the Intercontinental title. I am definitely going to go, or I'm sorry, the U.S. title. I'm going to definitely say that Jinder Mahal deserves this match and deserves to get the W on this one. Okay. Moving right along. Still more matches on the card, like I said. We're going to go to the tag team match. Bludgeon Brothers versus the Good Brothers. The boys. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I think that the Bludgeon Brothers are well due for a loss. I don't think that they're much different from the same Wyatt family that we've seen, which if you want to pair them up, you should have never broken up the Wyatt family to begin with. But if I'm going to pick one on this match, if I'm going to go for my prediction, I'm going to go with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows in this one. I think that they are in the middle of a good face run. I think that everybody's always wanted to be behind them. I think the heel run didn't go as successful as they should have been. And I think that there's a lot of marketing potential with those guys, especially if they keep them up and they pair them up with AJ Styles, and keep them going with AJ Styles and keep the whole club thing going or the Bullet Club thing going. I think you're on the money if you make these guys tag champions.
I'm going to actually disagree with you there, sir. I think that this match favors the Bludgeon Brothers because of one simple thing. Sanity. Sanity will make out their debut. Sanity will cost the Good Brothers their match by interfering and attacking both squads, i.e., Sanity will be the reason that the Bludgeon Brothers remain champion. It's going to start a feud with the Good Brothers as well as the Bludgeon Brothers. I think that Sanity is the dark horse in this. They have not been officially debuted. What better chance to make their way than at Money in the Bank and put it out there? And my eyes are on Killian Dane, not Eric Young, not Alexander Wolf. Those are the two members that I'm going to say, no, Killian Dane is going to be the X factor of this group. So Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, y'all are going to come out and y'all are going to make a match there. Y'all are going to ruin things for the Good Brothers, and it's going to be the next feud. Good Brothers, Sanity, bank on it, Swerves and Curves coming at you live.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can definitely get with that as well. I like that twist. I like that storyline. And we'll save some of that for a future. I want to get back on that one because if that one comes to play, you definitely got a great prediction on your hands there. Moving right along. The Intercontinental Championship match. Elias versus Seth Rollins. Of course, because this is a Seth Rollins title match, this is definitely the automatic candidate for match of the night. There has been word that Seth Rollins is supposed to be the next in line for the Universal title against Brock Lesnar later on down the line, possibly at SummerSlam. If that is the case, they would have to build him up for the main event before that gets along. What better way to do it? By transferring the Intercontinental title off of him onto somebody else that is very over with the fans. So in this matchup, not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. My prediction is definitely Elias in this one.
You have good Jesus versus bad Jesus in this match. They both look alike. No offense. I'm not saying that all white men with long hair and beards look alike, but they look alike. You take out the mustache and you add about 50 pounds to Seth Rollins, you have Elias. No offense, that's just the facts. However, I'm going to say in this particular match, Elias will take the championship off of Seth Rollins. They might have one more encounter. Elias will retain, and Seth Rollins will move on up, just like you said, and go on to bigger and better things come SummerSlam. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. So I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Elias will win with a W one way or another. Elias will take it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Moving right along. Once again, we got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to move through these next couple ones a little quicker than usual here. So we also have on this night the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. Outside of the marquee matchups of the pay-per-view, this is the only stipulation match that we have outside of the marquee matchup. This is a last man standing match. With the poor finishes that they've constantly done in this feud, with the lacklusterness of the feud, but with the hilarious heel turn of Shinsuke Nakamura, there's been a lot of surprises throughout the duration of this feud. I think that this is going to be not just the last man standing match for that night, but this is going to be the bookmark, the stamp to the end of this feud. So, with that being said, my winner that I'm going to call on this one is AJ Styles. I think with AJ Styles being the champion for so long, with the fans being behind him, and him being the face champion right now, being that Brock Lesnar is more so the heel champion or heavyweight champion, I think that AJ Styles is going to keep this title going, and he's going to end up feuding with my pick to win the Money in the Bank earlier in Samoa Joe. So I'm going to go with AJ Styles in this one. And Lady Great one.
Our opinions may be different when it comes to the Money in the Bank winner. However, they are exactly the same when it comes to this. To me, Nakamura is not ready to hold that title. To me, AJ Styles will continue to be the face that runs the place. That being said, my money is on AJ Styles on this one. Nakamura is just, he's there, but he's not quite. There's something about Nakamura that I do not see as a champion yet. I'm not saying that he won't be champion, but there's just something about Nakamura that, even though that's the first ever WWE t-shirt that I personally purchased, is a Strong Style, King of Strong Style, Nakamura t-shirt. My first and only WWE shirt belongs to Nakamura. I'm not saying that I do not like the man, because I have great respect for him and I really love Strong Style. However, I'm saying AJ Styles will retain his championship. It's going to count to 10. He's going to win a last man standing match because the resiliency of AJ, and not only that, the people are behind him, and there's not really much you can do with Nakamura at the moment. AJ Styles has a plethora of options, and giving, if your prediction comes true, or if my heart rings true, or not my heart, but with my head ringing true, there, Miz will be a great, great, great contender for the championship with AJ Styles, or Rusev, or Samoa Joe. I don't see the member of New Day doing it, but those three I can definitely see having a great feud with AJ Styles. Everybody looks better when they're going against AJ Styles. That's just facts. Swords and curves, bank on it.
Absolutely. So that'll conclude basically our predictions. We'll post those later on in both groups tonight, and we'll see pretty much who gets the most predictions correct come next week's show and see who really got the reads, so to speak, quote unquote. Shots fired at the professor. Okay, so the next matchup or the next pay-per-view for this pay-per-view weekend for WWE is going to be NXT TakeOver. With NXT TakeOver Chicago 2018, we are going to see a 5 matchup lineup. Hell of a card, as it always is. We'll start off with the NXT Women's Championship. And I know I've been starting with the women first tonight. There's no disrespect to women. It's just how the cards fell, so to speak. No pun intended. But Shayna Baszler, great heel run that she's had since winning the WWE NXT Women's title. I was not a faithful. I had no faith in her when she first started. When she feuded with Ember Moon, I thought it was boring. I didn't see the potential. But Shayna is a bully. And I love every bit of it. And I am not ready for her to lose this title yet. I think that one of the reasons why you don't see a whole lot of sanity on TV right now is because I think that we are awaiting the result of this feud. And I think that Shayna will continue to be the NXT champion. And she's going to win this matchup. Nikki Cross, hell of a competitor, great wrestler. I love the character. But I don't see Shayna Baszler losing this title. Lady Great One, what you got?
This is by far the women's match that I have been wanting to see on NXT. Now, with that being said, I am a huge, let me say this again, huge Shayna Baszler fan. She's shown me a lot. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of mental tenacity. There is a lot of power. I mean, she's not overly big as far as women go. She's not a Nia Jax size. No, she is the exact same size, exact same height as 99% of the women in WWE right now. Let me go ahead and say that out. But for her to be just a regular sized woman and bully people the way that she does, I'm a Shayna Baszler fan. I think that everything about her screams champion. The look, the attitude, the walk, the talk, the holding the belt, just the way that she carries herself, period. I like Shayna Baszler. Let me get that out the way. I like Shayna Baszler. I actually think that she would be a more legitimate champ than Ronda would be. I hate to compare her to her other UFC brethren, but Shayna Baszler is more of a complete character to me than Ronda Rousey. Now that I got that out of the way, let me get on to this match. Nikki Cross, the one woman who shows no fear, the twisted sister of Sanity, the reason that Sanity hasn't even debuted is Nikki Cross. Now, let me just hold up for a second and just ponder on this. You have the Queen of Spades, you have the bully, you have the average woman with the absolutely phenomenal skill set who took the strap off of Ember Moon, Shayna Baszler in one corner. You have the unpredictable, the crazy, the I don't give a damn style of wrestling, put everything on the line, Nikki Cross. Who am I going to go for? My prediction might actually shock each and every one of you. I think that Nikki is taking this strap right here, bank on it, swears and curves. As much as I love Shayna, Nikki Cross got that title.
Well, I wouldn't be mad at either way, but I'm really behind Shayna on this one, so I'm going to stick with my guns on Shayna. On the next match on the card, this is somewhat of a dream match, if you will. Probably going to be the match of the night. Well, I can't really give that a definitive answer because we're talking NXT, and we got a lot of matches that could possibly be match of the night. But my personal favorite match on the card, and my favorite feud that's going on in NXT right now, with anything that you can do, I can do, between Velveteen and Ricochet. Ricochet's debut TakeOver 101 match. Lady Great One, who you got in this one?
Anything you can do, the Dream can do better. I've got to give this one to the Dream. I love Ricochet. Don't get me wrong. Don't take anything at all away. But as far as the mind games go, I think that the Velveteen Dream needs some respect on his name, and you're going to know the name Velveteen Dream. He's going to win this shit.
I would like to see Velveteen come away with the win. I think he needs it a lot more than Ricochet. Even though this is Ricochet's debut match, a lot of people are going to be expecting Ricochet to come away with the W, so to speak, in this one. But Velveteen is... I don't think that the win over God, I can't even think of the guy's name now. Cassius Ohno at the previous TakeOver. I don't think that it was much of a big win. I think that he needs a huge win. I think they really need to get behind this character.
No, sir. I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off, but you are incorrect. The last TakeOver, the Velveteen Dream, was in the North American Championship match. And he fought against Adam Cole. He fought against Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, EC3, and Killian Dane. That was the last TakeOver event. He was in that North American Championship match. So don't forget that match, because the Dream did show out, and he proved why he was the Dream. And the last big feud, really, that the Dream was in was against Aleister Black, and all he wanted was some respect. So
when we're referring to the last
Dream to come away.
When I'm referring to the last TakeOver match that he was in, I'm referring to his last singles match in NXT TakeOver. So his last TakeOver match as a singles wrestler was against Cassius Ohno. You are correct, however. His last TakeOver was for the North American Championship that was newly debuting in that six-man ladder match. So definitely, in this one though, I'm gonna be going with you as well. I'm hoping that Velveteen wins this one. I think that they need to get ready to groom Velveteen for an NXT title run. Not only for an NXT title run, I think that because this is the reigning, defending match of the year from last year from NXT, or feud of the year, so to speak, that they need to go ahead and go back at it again for the NXT title, this time with Velveteen taking it. So my pick, long story short, Velveteen Dream is winning this one.
I'm glad that you agree with me on this one. No offense to Ricochet. I love Ricochet. I think that he is absolutely incredible. That straight forward flipping 450 over the top rope, stand on his feet and walk up to you on a ramp and say, show me or prove it. To Velveteen Dream. Ricochet is on point. I'm not taking anything away from King Ricochet. However, I think that Ricochet does not need this match. I'm not saying anything against Ricochet. He is already bona fide. He is going to be a champion sometime. I already say that, bank on it. However, I will say this. Between the two, Velveteen Dream needs this match a little bit more than Ricochet does. Velveteen Dream needs to solidify himself. And he is playing the role so well. I've never been behind any superstar as much, even with Roman Reigns, as I am the Velveteen Dream. And I will say this, I'm more of a Velveteen Dream fan than I am Roman Reigns. And that's a lot coming out of my mouth.
Wow, that's major. He's definitely my favorite. He's definitely my favorite young guy.
He is the reason that I watch NXT. He is what makes NXT for me. the character is so unique and is so awe-inspiring that the Velveteen Dream will always have a place in my heart. He is a combination of Rick Rude as well as Goldust. I mean, that is a beautiful medley that comes together to make the Velveteen Dream. And a lot of people will think that this character is effeminate. This character is not what you're used to seeing. He's not Orlando Jordan when he did this shit. He's not Goldust. He's not Rick Rude. He's a combination of the three. And in a beautiful manner, he created the Velveteen Dream. And I am a huge Dream fan. Because even with his feud with Aleister Black, he only wanted one thing, one very, very simple thing. That was respect. He just wanted him to say his name. And I cannot get even further behind somebody who just wants the acknowledgement than Velveteen Dream. He has my vote on this one. I love Ricochet, don't get me wrong. I think that he is absolutely amazing in the ring. He is going to be that man to look out for. Over the next couple of years, I see him wearing a title of some form or fashion, be it the NXT Championship, be it the Cruiserweight, be it the WWE, be it the Universal Championship. I see great things for Ricochet in his future. However, right now is a Velveteen Dreams moment. Swerves and curves.
Absolutely. And I can definitely get with that as well. And just as you mentioned Orlando Jordan, I was going to say the same thing. I think that Orlando Jordan's character and Velveteen Dream's character have their similarities, but Velveteen has taken that character and actually pulled it off and made it a very likable character, whereas in Orlando Jordan's version of this character was very, for lack of a better word, uncomfortable to watch, so to speak. Moving right along on this one, the next match on the card, we have the Chicago Street Fight for the long-standing feud between Mr. Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, versus quite possibly right now, I can't think of a bigger heel in wrestling right now other than Tommaso Ciampa. This is following up on the level of hardcore / unsanctioned / no rules, type of matches that they're having. I think that you'll see a lot of points where you're going to pretty much see Ciampa get the shit booed out of him throughout this whole throughout this whole match. All in all, though, I think that Ciampa is well deserved for a win in this one, and I'm going to go with Ciampa winning this match.
Well, for me, Tommaso Ciampa has one ace in the hole. And the ace in the hole is actually Candice LeRae. She's ready for this feud to be over with. Johnny Gargano put her in harm's way if you would have watched NXT 2 weeks ago. He actually got knocked off the ramp and threw Candice LeRae down to the ground. Unintentionally, inadvertent, whatever you want to say, it happened. So I think that I'm going to agree with you. Tommaso Ciampa will walk away with a W on this. This match is not over. Chicago is 1 year pulled away from where DIY split up. So I think that there's going to be a rubber match coming up on SummerSlam. And Tommaso Ciampa will this one, but Gargano might actually take over in round 3. But there will be a round 3.
Definitely. Okay, next match on the card that we have, NXT Championship match. And I hate not to bring up the championship match at the last match of the card, but I don't know if this is going to be main eventing over the Undisputed Era, tag team match. So we're gonna go into Aleister Black versus the challenger Lars Sullivan. Now Lars Sullivan is one of the guys that does not have the same backing as most NXT stars. He's a big guy. He's very anti NXT, so to speak. NXT is all about, the indie presence, the indie love, the lucha style wrestling, the technical wrestling, the tag team wrestling. Not really much space for a big guy on the roster. And because of that, you've seen Lars get booed out of the building in a lot of matches that he's been in. Me personally, I like Lars. I like the finisher. I like that he's gritty. However, I do not think that it is time for him to wear a championship belt yet. So, long story short, just like everybody else that came before him, he is going to fade to black, and Aleister Black is winning this match.
Here is the part where you and I disagree. I hate that because I really, really, truly am behind Aleister Black. I think that everything that Aleister Black is doing is raw as hell. I think that Aleister Black is a truly deserving champion. I think that the Black Mass is a badass finisher. And I think that Aleister Black himself is a great character. Now that I've given all the praise, let me talk about the negatives. Number one, the biggest negative standing in front of Aleister Black. Look at Lars Sullivan. Now, I don't know how many of you actually watch NXT, but Aleister Black got caught in the Black Mass on Lars Sullivan. And if you can catch that kick, that right there is already speaking volumes. Yes, I know that at the end of the day, Lars Sullivan prevails, but usually, 9 times out of 10, the person who prevails in the match before the pay-per-view is going to lose the pay-per-view. That's just a nice that I've seen happening over and over again in WWE because of the way that the writers write the stories. He's got to come from behind. He's got to get the victory. But something is different when it comes to Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan. A lot of people boo Lars Sullivan the same way that they do Brock Lesnar. I see a lot of similarities between the two. And for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to have to go with Lars Sullivan.
Wow, so you think they're ready to put the
spot on Lars? Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of Brock Lesnar and Lars Sullivan. The way that Brock Lesnar used to be, not the way he is now. The former.
Okay. While I can't agree with the result, I can definitely see exactly where you're coming from with that. I just like we talked about Shinsuke before, I just don't see championship in Lars Sullivan right now. I don't think that he's ready. I don't think that he's ready at all. But would I be upset if Lars was to win? Not as upset as some people would be. I think everybody deserves a shot, but just Aleister is definitely the personification of that championship right now. I don't personally think that he's going to lose.
I really don't think he's going to win, but there's just something about him that does scream championship. It's that Brock Lesnar feel. I'm not saying that that's what's really going to happen, but I just feel that Brock Lesnar style, big man, gritty, like battle-hardened champion. That's what I see in Lars Sullivan. It may not be this weekend. However, it may be in the future. I just see a battle-hardened champion with him.
Definitely, definitely. Moving right along to the main event, we have the NXT Tag Team Championship match. Um, and I'm not quite sure if this is going to be the main event. This is just me personally thinking this is going to be the main event, just because of the caliber of this match. We have Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong representing the Undisputed Era. They're going to be going against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now, on the previous podcast, we talked about Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan and how they're gritty, they're tough, they're these, you know, ball-headed guys are stiff. You're going to hurt when you get in the ring with these guys. And we talked about how what they do is not sexy, it's not pretty, but damn it, it gets the job done. Even with all of the praise that we've given the two over the past few months, I still do not see the Undisputed Era dropping those titles just yet, until there is some type of friction or until we see Bobby Fish get ready to return. I don't see them dropping the titles. So I'm going to go with the Undisputed Era in this one.
Actually, I think that that's the downfall. We're going to disagree again because I think that because Bobby Fish is injured right now, that Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly will drop the championships to Lorcan and Burch, mainly because of the fact that they don't have the same chemistry. There's going to be some reason why O'Reilly and Strong cannot get the job done. So therefore, it's going to be dissension in the ranks, and Bobby Fish will be the determining factor when he's off of injury. However, they're going to lose the titles to Lorcan and Burch. I'm going to go ahead and put my name on it right there. Swerves and curves.
Okay, definitely. Well, TakeOver is definitely, if I'm going to compare the two cards, just to give one more prediction, just going to throw a shot in the dark out here. I think the TakeOver is going to end up having the better pay-per-view. I know a lot of people may not agree with that, you know, as everyone is pro main roster and not pro NXT. Sarcasm. I don't see any way that that's going to change anytime soon. So we're definitely going to say that even with 5 matches, with half of the matches of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, that NXT TakeOver is walking away with the win this weekend.
When it comes between NXT and actual main roster, the one problem that I see that the main roster has in comparison is the fact of time. I think that there's a lot of time and a lot of unnecessary feuds that need to be filled, unlike NXT, which is only 1 hour. They get their feuds out there, done. It's a wrap. There's a lot of time to fill between SmackDown and Raw. You have 5 hours compared to 1. So therefore, that 1 hour that NXT gets a week, they try their best to maximize their efficiency. So therefore, NXT will beat both Raw and SmackDown on those, mainly because of the fact that you only have 1 hour in comparison to 5.
Absolutely. You get no complaints out of me for that one. Next up, we've talked about pay-per-view weekend for WWE. Of course, we know this is going to be a big weekend. We talked about Omega. Let's give another spotlight on someone else who may be a former WWE star but no longer in WWE. CM Punk. There's still a lot of CM Punk fans out there. You don't even really have to be following closely to know what's happened. CM Punk has probably had one of the worst last 2 weeks, or one of the most up and down last 2 weeks as anybody could have. First and foremost, a little over a week ago, CM Punk wins his case against the WWE doctor who was suing CM Punk for defamation of character and saying that he caused him to miss out on funds and pretty much defamed his character. CM Punk with Colt Cabana in this case, pretty much a walk in the park. They win this. did you pay much close attention to this case as it was going on?
Not really. Um, yeah, I heard about the case. I hadn't really looked forward to it or saw any like notes on the case. I thought from the beginning this case was pretty much one and done, especially when the upcoming events that we had saw. Excuse me. Um, but there are certain things to this case that didn't quite sit right for me. And I'm not saying that as a CM Punk fan, which I kind of am, but there's just a couple of holes that need to be filled for me to side with WWE on this one.
Yeah. And I don't even really consider it being WWE, so to speak, because this wasn't CM Punk versus the whole company, so to speak, as most people.
The doctor. I'm sorry, I misrepresented there. The WWE medical staff, their lead doctor, should I say.
Yeah, and you know, I understand where you're coming from there. I'm not placing this on you, but I think a lot of people took this as CM Punk versus WWE. And this is, if people haven't been following the case as you and I have, just to give a little bit more insight into it, WWE doctor Christopher Amon sued Phil Brooks, whose real name is CM Punk, who we all know and most love, stating that on Colt Cabana's podcast back in 2014, CM Punk said a lot of unflattering things about the mistreatment of his medical issues or medical concerns that were going on, including his staph infection and how it was mistreated and how that he couldn't get any time off and he had to wrestle with said staph infection. And pretty much defaming this doctor and saying that he was very poor in judgment. The doctor then responded with this lawsuit. Not only with this going on, there's other things that have been read and that have been quoted. There were other things going on with this doctor. One of the major other things outside of this case that they're saying that he had inappropriate relations with women's wrestlers that would come through the company. Most notably known as Jillian Hall is one of the few names that came up with that as well. But CM Punk, I mean, it was definitely, he was just speaking the truth. If we're gonna just be unfiltered here, CM Punk was speaking the truth. The doctor got butthurt and decided to take a lawsuit into his own hands, and he failed. So CM Punk won that case very easily, which is more than I can say for the other event that's occurred in the last 2 weeks for CM Punk. UFC 225 this past Saturday night. Hell of a card. I'm a huge UFC fan as well. A lot of great fights on there. Lady Great One, please tell me you watched CM Punk fight against Mike the Truth Jackson.
Actually, no, I didn't. I had no interest in this whatsoever. Being a CM Punk fan, I knew he was going to get his ass whooped, and that's exactly what happened. I don't care if the judges had to go to a card. This was not of any interest whatsoever to me. So I missed it.
Well, what I will say on that point, you're definitely right. I think getting his ass whooped was an understatement. I watched the fight. I watched the whole card from start to finish. And it was sad. Like I said before, if we're going to be real, that's exactly what it was. It was sad. It was watching a 39-year-old man with very little martial arts Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience, even though he has been training with the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team in the world, according to fans, with the Gracies, that I saw a man that's not a UFC fighter in that cage, somebody who does not deserve that spot, and has pretty much gotten 2 cards out of UFC just off of his WWE fame. And I don't want to see him fight anymore. Lady Great One, I don't want to see CM Punk in the octagon anymore. It was terrible. Have you ever seen somebody? Have you ever seen a guy who had heart, growing up in school, and he pick a fight with a bully, and the bully is beating him up, but at the same time he's having fun and he's just playing around with him while he's doing it. That's pretty much what happened in CM Punk's fight. Even to the point where UFC CEO Dana White was very critical of Mike the Truth Jackson and how he handled that fight. Said that he didn't try to finish the fight, which he really toyed with him all the way up into a ref's decision. He had plenty of chances to tap him out, to knock him out, and he just didn't take it. And Dana White has been on record saying that Mike is not going to get another opportunity in UFC again, neither is CM Punk. And I, for one, am definitely glad to hear that. It's kind of messed up to publicly speak out against Mike. So not so more so against Mike, but more so against CM Punk. I think that he needs to be done with it. I don't think that he doesn't love wrestling anymore, as he stated that he doesn't love wrestling anymore. One thing that disproves that theory to me is him actually showing up at later on this year at All In Chicago, which we talked about previously. But I think that he needs to go ahead and make his way back over to wrestling. Honestly, the best place for him right now, if he's not going to go to WWE, the best place for him right now would probably be to go to New Japan Wrestling, or either to go back to Ring of Honor. Buy or sell, do you think that we will see 39-year-old CM Punk return to wrestling after this fight?
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot walk away from UFC with that horrible of a reputation without trying to venture into other things. I'm sorry. There is no way in the world, if I were CM Punk, that I would be stepping my face inside of an octagon again. I would be going for that squared circle and making my beeline straight to WWE. I don't care if it's in NXT. I don't care if it's on 205 Live. I don't care if it's SmackDown or Raw. I don't care if it's even in Ring of Honor New Japan. I'm getting my ass back into a squared circle where I belong. And I'm just going to put it like that, point blank and period. CM Punk really had no business in the octagon. He lost the first match in the first round in 30 seconds. I don't care how much Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that you may have focused. You are a sports entertainer. Get your ass right back where you belong in the sports entertainment world. Drop your pipe bomb. Do everything that you can to endure the fans, even if you have zero interaction with the fans and you're a straight asshole to your fans. Bring your ass back, because you have no business anywhere else.
Facts. Definitely, I think that he's definitely done. And by the way of, referring to New Japan and for Ring of Honor earlier, I definitely do think that CM Punk still has a future in wrestling. Oddly enough, I think that CM Punk is not done with the WWE. I think that his major beef with this last lawsuit, I think that a lot of things might end up getting pinned on that doctor. Of course, he doesn't like his position or didn't like his position of not main eventing WrestleMania. But I think that where we are right now with the state of the roster, John Cena is not even an active part of the roster anymore. You don't get much of Randy Orton there. You see a lot of the younger blood. You see the Roman Reigns. You see the Seth Rollins. You see the Daniel Bryans. And these guys aren't young. When I say that, I mean the newer blood, the newer faces, versus the guys that have been in WWE versus 10 years. I think that there's still a spot in WWE for CM Punk. I think that it's all on him if he wants to take that spot. All right. So moving right along, after our topic on CM Punk here, WWE announced recently that they are running it back with the United Kingdom tournament. So the UK tournament will be kicking off soon. As a matter of fact, once it was announced, the UK tournament is set to come back into play looks like next week. So the event is actually going to be filmed on June 18th, 19th of 2018, and then they're going to air it on June the 25th. So it's coming up very soon here. If you watched the UK tournament last year, great tournament. Tyler Bate ended up coming away with the win and becoming WWE's first United Kingdom champion. Currently the champion, Pete Dunne. Once again, we talked highly of the Velveteen Dream earlier tonight. I would like to put the same support behind Pete Dunne. Both of these guys, very young, very talented guys, huge future. But back to the tournament. The tournament is going to be a little different than it was last year for those who followed the UK tournament last year. So details of this tournament. The winner of this tournament is actually going to receive a title shot versus Pete Dunne. There have been a lot of matches that are going to be announced. There's still some more matches coming up. But on the first day, you are going to get British Strong Style, which is Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven, versus the Undisputed Era in a 6-man tag match. You're going to see a lot of other familiar faces in this tournament. You're going to see Jack Gallagher, of course. You're also going to see Drew Gulak, excuse me, in this. And a lot of other names such as Zach Gibson, Amir Jordan, James Drake, Tyson T-Bone, and the list goes on. How invested do you think you are in this tournament? Are you waiting to see who's going to get this #1 match or this championship match versus Pete Dunne? And do you think that they'll be able to beat Pete Dunne?
I have not watched the bracketology on this yet. However, I do know that there is one name against Pete Dunne that I would love to see. His name is Jack Gallagher. I think that he is the quintessential wrestler. I think that everything that Jack Gallagher does in that ring is so beautiful, so technical, it just breaks down to a science. I love watching Jack Gallagher in the ring, and yes, he is already a part of WWE, but I would love to see him sport that UK championship because of the fact that he deserves it. If he's not the 205 Live champion, he has to be the UK champion.
Absolutely. So this is, I mentioned before, this is a 2-day tournament. So the winner of the tournament is going to be crowned on day 1. Now this is just day 1, other than the 6-man tag match that I've announced. The winner of that tournament will move on to day 2. Now day 2 is going to coincide with NXT. Bloody Raven. So this is going to be a 5-match card, similar that you would see on an NXT event or NXT TakeOver. And this is what's going to happen. So announced for day 2 of the United Kingdom tournament, Aleister Black versus Ricochet. Aleister Black and Ricochet versus EC3 in the Velveteen Dream in a tag match. And that's not all. So on top of that, Shayna Baszler is going to be defending the NXT Women's title on day 2 versus the winner of a women's Fatal 4-Way match that is upcoming in NXT. The Undisputed Era will be defending their tag team titles against a tag team to be later named as well. Adam Cole will be defending his title against a competitor to be named later. And then, of course, because it's the United Kingdom tournament, the main event is going to be Pete Dunne defending the United Kingdom Championship versus the winner of this tournament. So when you really look at this card, right out of TakeOver, you're going to get pretty much almost the caliber of having 2 back-to-back TakeOvers within a week and a half, 2 weeks. So from that being said, what's the chances do you see that any of these titles are going to be lost on day 2 of this tournament?
The one championship that I feel as the greatest jeopardy is the women's championship. I think that if Shayna does win over Nikki Cross, Bianca Belair defeating Dakota Kai will take the title off of Shayna Baszler. There's something about Bianca Belair that screams champion. There's nothing that I see that she cannot do, and I think that Bianca Belair is the ultimate high right now when it comes to NXT Women's Championships, and that's the one title I think should change hands. I'm not sure about the tag team. I'm not sure about the NXT title or the North American title, but I can tell you this much. I feel that Shayna Baszler will drop that title, if not to anybody, but it will be to Bianca Belair.
That's a bold prediction. I'm gonna go if I see any NXT title being dropped during that time frame, I'm going to end up going with the tag titles. And this is why. Right now, you got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, of course, this weekend. I've already said that I think the Undisputed Era is coming away with the championship from there. And I also went on record to say I don't really see them losing the titles until friction happens or until we see a return from Bobby Fish. But there is one tag team on NXT that hasn't got a shot and that have been running through everybody else on the tag team roster and could make a major play for the titles if they were to get a shot. And if you have been watching NXT, you know, of course, and I'm talking about the War Raiders, which I hate that name, stupid name. But you can't deny the talent. You can't deny the physicality.
I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off there, brother, but actually the tag team who's been cheating to win the most on NXT has been the Mighty.
TM6. TM13. Yeah, they've been having a run as well, but it's not the same run as the War Raiders have been having. The War Raiders have been running through people.
I understand and I agree with you there. I'm not saying that the War Raiders have not been running through. However, I'm just saying that TM61, the Mighty, have been winning by any means necessary. So that's all I'm saying there.
Yeah. But also, I don't see them doing the heel versus heel in that one either. So I'm still going to go with the War Raiders on that one if they were to make it. I don't see Adam Cole losing the NXT North American Championship anytime soon. I think that right now he's building a lot of prestige on that title, and I don't think that they need to take that off of him anytime soon. Oddly enough, I don't see Pete Dunne losing the title either. Pete Dunne has held the title and if Chris is out there, if you can fact check for this, I think that Pete Dunne is reaching Brock Lesnar CM Punk level-esque of his run right now. I think that he's plus 200 days, closing in on 300 days as the United Kingdom champion. And right now with his position in the company and his crossing over back and forth from United Kingdom events to NXT, I think that he's going to keep holding that title.
I'm not saying anything against that. However, I will say that Pete Dunne is an amazing UK champion. I think that he has successfully retained his title against some very formidable opponents. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, we did cover a lot of topics tonight. I definitely can't wait to watch all of these events. I definitely can't wait to see what unfolds with CM Punk. And I can't wait to see what unfolds with Kenny Omega now that he's the New Japan Heavyweight Champion. Other than that, what that's going to lead me to is my final thought for the night. So with my final thought for the night, I'm going to spend a little time on one person that we mentioned earlier today. We didn't spend a lot of time on, but you did include him in the storyline, James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth is not your prototypical WWE superstar. He doesn't have the look. He has somewhat of the ability. Doesn't really have the mic work. But for some reason, the fans latched on to James Ellsworth. And if the rumblings are true that he is re-signed with the WWE and will be making his way to the main roster, I'm not going to be a huge fan of it. But I definitely want to give a lot of props for someone following their dreams and for getting so much support. And I definitely wish him the best of his career if he does come back to WWE. And that's all I have for my final thought tonight. And what do you want to close this out on tonight, Lady Great One?
I want to close this out with something that I feel that is near and dear to my heart.
Okay. Lady Great One, you still with us?
We've got the women who are matching everything that the men do. We're going to have a women's Money in the Bank winner for the second year in a row. I'm just extremely ecstatic about that. And nowadays, the women have been main eventing each show more often than not, and more kicking off the show more often than not, and it's been incredible. So props up to the women's revolution, and that is my final thought.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that'll wrap up another great episode. It was definitely fun doing that. Marking out amongst friends. You listen to another episode, and we are out.